welcome to the second workshop of the year. My name is Beth Wetmore, and I am the advising specialist in student support services. And if you have come up and filled out an application via the program, I would invite you to do that. It's a good program. This is Deanna Johnson in the back, and she's the program administrator. Today we have Kimberly Campbell, my dear friend, presenting this workshop, and she has a lot to share on time management. She juggles more than probably anybody I know in her busy life. I'm not kidding. And so let me tell you a little bit about the Counseling Center. Kimberly is the director. It's in the third floor of the Commons, and to make an appointment, you go online. So if you have some issues that you want to explore and journey with somebody that can be objective with you, there's a great staff of counselors down there. Kimberly heads up that great service. The first 3 or 5 are free. 6 are free. Sessions are free, and after that they still $5 a session. So it's a great bargain and really worthwhile. So without further ado, let's welcome Kimberly and all of her knowledge to share with us. Well, thank you.
Yeah, I put the little gal on the front, little graphic, which I thought, why aren't you proud of me? I've come a long ways here with the PowerPoint stuff. I know, this is, why me? Why would I do this presentation on time management? But I think that's why Beth said, there's a lot of things that I juggle in my life, and there's been, I've had to really sort of make some pretty significant steps to be able to do that, and I'm going to try to help you do that today. So, so first of all, I just want to start out with the premise that how we see the world impacts what we do, which impacts what we get, and what we get impacts how we see the world, which impacts what we do, which impacts what we get. Does that make sense? Okay, so how we see the world can be related to our experiences in our family of origin. It can be related to personality. It can be related to experiences we have with our friendships. It can be related to how we've done in school previously. And so how we see, sort of how we operate in time and what we do with our time impacts, again, what we do and then what we get, and then we just have this vicious cycle that goes, okay? So the reality about time management is you can't get any more time than what you have, right? Sure. Right. And some of the way in which I operate in my sort of time is very different than like others would operate time. Like time to me is driven partly because of again, my temperament. And so like when I was working on this workshop, I did actually a training on Saturday. I am working up into the very last minute. And I know there are lots of students who are just like me, okay? And part of that is because I have this temperament that I will use every minute left, okay? And I also do a lot of processing in my head before I actually make it happen. And I know there's students that, and I used to beat myself up as a student, an undergraduate student, because I used to think that was a bad thing that I would do that. But the reality is I don't have the temperament like my husband does, who would actually be somebody who would, get it aside. If he had this presentation to do, he would have done it 2 weeks ago, and he would, kind of keep coming back to it because that's his temperament and that's how he does things. Whereas for me, again, I've got to have that pressure of time. But how do we make that work is what's important, okay? And I would encourage you, if this is something that continues to be an issue to you, let us know. We'll do a Myers-Briggs with you and help you sort of identify what it is that for you is your temperament style and how that impacts how you see time, what you do with it, and then what you get from it. Okay. So again, the thing about time management is that we can't get any more than what we got. And I remember when I was in graduate school, I had a supervisor who I was a foster parent at the time. My husband was in graduate school. We were active in our church. We were active in our community. And I was doing an internship, and I was really stressed out. And her feedback to me was, "You have all the time you need." And I was like, "What? How?" Not very compassionate, and it wasn't what I wanted to hear. But that comment really stayed with me, and that's the reality. We have all the time we need, but it's what we do with it that matters. Okay, we can't get any more than what we have, and we have all that we need. It's a matter of what is it that's really driving us. What is it that we really want to do? I want to get these out. Oops. is it that is important to us that allows us to decide what we're going to do with our time. So, what we're going to do today, instead of just giving you a bunch of, superficial tips about how to manage your time, we'll do some of, we'll look at some, some advice type things, but some of that stuff you've heard already before. So what we're going to do today is actually do some reflection. And this it goes back to, again, how you see the world, what's important to you will impact what you do with your time. And then we're going to actually do some things to help you sort of begin this process of managing your own time. Okay, so there's an old Benjamin Franklin, pretty successful individual. Some would say one of the most successful individuals. He had sort of governing values, and this is called, I don't know if you've ever heard of, a lot of this comes from Franklin Covey, which was named after Benjamin Franklin. Franklin Covey is one of the leading researchers on time management, and so these are a lot of principles from their workshops. So the governing values of Benjamin Franklin and his highest priorities, this was his method. So first, come on. Okay, first he had to identify his governing values, which we're going to do in a minute. Then he had to prioritize those governing values. Which are the ones that are most important? And lastly, he had to clarify those values. So just like we talked about things like temperament, what we each value is very different from each other, okay? And again, some of that is based on what we've, how we've been brought up, and some of it's based on our temperament. What do we think is important? So the first thing we're going to do today is I'm going to just give you a few minutes, I'm going to turn on some music, and I want you to look at those examples on the sheet of governing values. And I want you to pick out, read the list. If you want to add some, I want you to pick out 5. Okay, 5 that would, for you, be examples of governing values. Got 5? Everybody? Okay, as I look around the room, I see that there are different circles in different places, so you've just proven my point. Sort of what is important to us is very different from each other. And so knowing that those are, like these 5 things are really, really important to me, okay? That when I am done with this life, I want people to be able to identify, and maybe the adjectives that they would use about my life would be reflected by these adjectives you've chosen, okay? I hope so. That's what today is really about, sort of helping you to clarify and decide, what is the mark I'm going to leave on the world, okay? All right, so the second thing that we need to look at is go ahead and flip the page to the second one. Sometimes as students, I think we get sort of this tunnel vision in that we think, oh, well, it's all about managing my time as a student, right? And we get stressed about that, and then it sort of bleeds into other areas of our life. I remember as a student, early on, that it always seemed as though I always had something sort of riding on me, anywhere I was, I got some shaking of heads, and so I always felt like, oh, they've got some, hanging over my head. And I wish that somebody would have talked to me about this when I was an undergraduate student. Okay, so what I want you to do is to think about the fact that you're not just a student. You are other things. Can you think of examples of other roles that you play besides student? Yeah.
Son.
Son, good. Mother, good.
Boyfriend.
Boyfriend, okay. That takes some time, doesn't it? What was it? Sister, okay. What was this? Did you say
No,
something?
I just said yes, it does.
Yes, it takes time, okay.
A lot.
What else? Do you guys work? Are you an employee? Okay. What about are any of you guys friends? Okay. Friendships that are important to you? Okay. Think of any other roles?
Athlete.
Okay, good. Good. Athlete.